I hope all of you can see this. Single level inheritance. Inheriting the base class at a derived class at a single level is said to be the single level inheritance. Here we have a base class. You can see this base class consists of one function, that is display function, and you have a constructor here, right? So, and then I have written one derived class. How does a class will derive any base class? With colon, right? Colon operator. So you can see class derive colon followed by visibility mode and the base class, right? If I not mention the visibility mode, default it takes privately. So I am trying to inherit this base class here privately at this derived class, right? So this is a syntax for inheriting the base class. Now inside this particular derived class, you can see I have one function that is outData declared a derived class, that is derived, right? If I am having a constructor in the derive of default kind, then I must have a default constructor in the base, and the derived must have to inherit the base class. This is the condition, right? And vice versa. The condition is applicable vice versa, right? So now here, let us try to define the code of the functions and constructors of this both base and derived class. Here I am trying to define the base class constructor code. So when you write the code outside, how do you write? Base, scope resolution operator, then base. Inside that, we have written one statement just to notify that it is executed. Base construct is reached, and there is a display function of the base class. So while writing outside, how do you write? Write the return type, that is void, then class name, that is base, scope resolution, then you have the function name display, right? So that this display function is going to be get binded with the base class, right? What this scope resolution operator does, it will bind this function with the base class, right? So in display function, I have a statement now to notify that display is executed. I am in base class. And then here, while I'm writing the derived class constructor, you can see here, you don't have any return types at all for the constructor, so you don't write. So you start straight away with the class name. So derived, scope resolution operator, then you have the derived class constructor default derived class constructor name, that is derived, followed by colon and followed by the base class constructor, right? So it means when you are trying to write the derived class constructor source code, what do you do is you will inherit the base class constructor like this, okay? You write the derived class constructor colon, then you write the base class constructor, fine. So now we have a statement now to notify that it is executed. We are displaying some statement with the help of this, that is derived class constructor is reached, right? Then you have outData function of the derived class, which is being defined here outside of the class, return type followed by the class name, so and then the function name, right? So this function is going to be get binded with the derived class. Now inside this we have a statement to display that I am in derived class. Now in the main function we are trying to create one object of the derived class, and we are invoking outData function, right? Now we'll try to demonstrate this. Fine. We'll try to understand this. What happens when this is executed, right? So when you are creating an object of derived, what happens for DOB? Memory is going to be allocated. How much memory is going to be allocated based on the members of the derived class? But here what happens when a derived class object is being created, the members of derived class for which the memory which is required is created, and at the same time along with the derived class members, base class members also the memory will be created. It means for DOB, how much memory is going to be allocated? Required for derived class and base class. It means when you create any derived class object, the amount of memory which is being allocated for the derived class object is not only required for its own members, but as well what all required for base class as well is going to be created. Okay, it means DOB will get allocated with both required for derived and the base class. Got it. Now, what happens at the time of creating an object itself? Yes or no? Constructors are going to be called. So now here what happens, this derived class constructor is going to be called. But before the derived class constructor is being called, what it does, it will call the base class constructor. Since the derived class is inheriting the base class, so the responsibility of the derived class is to first initialize the base class member before it gets initialized. Okay. So that is the reason why what happens, the base class constructor is going to be called first. So you can see base class constructor is called here first. Okay. And it initializes the base class members. Then the derived class constructor is going to be called to initialize the derived class members. Okay. Got it. Now the object is created. So when the object is created, this is what, but since it is a derived class, the members of its own also will be created. At the same time, base class members memory as well will be created, because the object, when you're trying to create the derived of a derived class, the members which are associated with a particular derived class are not only its own, but as well the base class as her. But at the same time, he will have his own property which he has earned in his lifetime. Got it? So when you look at, he has earned from his own, hardened efforts. But at the same time, he will be inheriting the base class. I mean, the parent. It means parent property is also a part of the parent property, which is accessible for him, is also will be available, will be associated with the child. Very similar here. When you are trying to create a derived class object, you will have the memory not only created for the derived class object, but as well the members which are of the base class also will be created, and they are associated with a particular derived class. Okay, that is the reason why what happens when the constructor is invoked. Fine. If you have the derived class constructor which will initialize only derived class members, but then you have the base class members are also associated with that particular derived class object that are also required to be initialized, and which can be initialized only by invoking the base class constructor. That is the reason why the derived class constructor is, invoking the base class constructor first and initializing the base class members, and then the derived class constructor is called, and the derived class members are also get initialized. Okay, so this is going to suffice that concept which I am trying to discuss and trying to convey. I hope all of you have understood this. Fine. Whatever I am trying to convey, I hope it is clear to all of you. Right now, what is that you have? The next statement that you have is to call the outData function. So outData function is going to be called. So when outData function is called, what it will display? It will display some statement. But then, as I know that base class members are accessible within the derived class with the scope limitations specified by visibility mode, and I have a display function available in the base class. Yes or no? With the public access specified scope, but then the base class member is derived with privately. It has become private in the derived. It means I can access within the function. So I can have that display function to be called here in the outData. When I call that, the display function will execute the base class from base class rather, right? So it means I can have here, yes or no? I can have the display function inside the outData. So that I am trying to have, and then trying to execute both, and then I'll show you. First, we will execute as it is. Language has to be chosen as C++. I am executing this. Yes, you can see the output here. First base constructor is reached. It means base constructor is called first. Then derived constructor is reached. It means then the derived constructor is called. Then I am in derived class. Then out data is called. I hope this is clear to all of you. I'll put backslash in, and you can see the difference in displaying it in the hash lines probably. See the difference more. I think the number of users who are trying to access this online GDB are more, because of which the server connection is being lost sometimes, because of which I am unable to access the application. Okay, I think probably from next class we'll have to see some other alternate. There is another application I've seen, Programmiz. Okay, we'll probably see with that as well. I'm not able to access it for a while, we can probably shift to that Programmiz. It's taking so much of time. Let us go with another application. I hope all of you can see this. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Take this compiler. Programmiz. This is also a good one. I can see the output immediately. So this the same program I've executed here. You can see the output shown on the right hand side. First base constructor is reached, then derived constructor is reached, then I am in derived class. Yes. I wanted to add some code here. In out data, I'm trying to call the display function. Can I call or not? Display is coming from where? Display is belonging to base class. But you can see this display is a public member, but then inherited when privately. What happens? It has become private here, right? So private in the sense you can access within the class. It means within its functions I can access. So I am accessing within the function itself, right? So display I am accessing. Then we'll see the output here. You can see I am in base class is also available here. Yes or no? So the display function is also executed. I'll put this in next line. Show you here. Yes. So you can see here when I have created the object DOB, what happened here? First, the constructor is going to be called after the memory required for the particular object being created, right? How much memory is going to be created for derived class object? It is clear that the memory required for not only the derived class but as well for the base class memory will be created. So it means along with the derived class members, base class members memory also will be created for the derived class object. Kindly note this point. And when the derived class constructor is called, you can see derived class constructor is first calling what? Base class. So that's the reason why first the base class constructor is being called, because of which you can see base constructor is reached first done. Then the derived class constructor is called. So derived class constructor is reached is also can be seen here. Then here after the object is created, you are calling what? Out data function. Out data is invoking display first, right? Base class coming from base class. I am in base class. Then its own statement is also been executed. I am in derived class, right? So this is how you can have the certain classes to be inherited at certain classes, right? With the help of this inheritance concept. So this is said to be single level because I am inheriting base class at one level. But if I am trying to inherit this derived at another derived class, then it is said to be multi-level, right? So that we can probably see in the next class, right? I hope this is clear to all of you.